Hello again. In the past few videos I've been talking about how stress changes the way that our bodies work and also how these changes can affect our well-being, increasing the chance that we develop both physical and mental health problems. I have spent over 10 years of my life trying to understand how our minds and bodies cope with modern life and how this relates to our health. I've also spent a great deal of time exploring ways that we can help ourselves by changing the ways that we react to stress. As I mentioned before, I studied physiology, psychology and neuroscience at Oxford University, St John's College, and my PhD at University College London explored the effects of cognitive load on our ability to cope with sensory information. I'm also a qualified hypnotherapist and I'm licensed to practice a wide range of other psychotherapeutic techniques as well. All of this basically means I have a good understanding of the underlying theories and evidence that explain why we suffer from stress from both the psychological perspective, so that's the way that our mind influences us, and the physiological perspective as well. So there's the ways that our bodily systems work and interact with each other. My studies into neuroscience have also helped me to explore in more detail our current knowledge about how the brain works and how complicated we are as human beings. Essentially, what these studies have really done for me is to highlight how much we really do have the power to help ourselves. It's just the case of understanding how our bodily systems work and how they're influenced by the mind, and then using this knowledge for our benefit so that we can become fitter, healthier, and just feel better in our minds and bodies. That is what my consultancy, Soothing Stress Strategies, is all about. It would be great if there was a one-size-fits-all solution that can be used by everyone and could guarantee that stress did not affect us at all and make us ill. Unfortunately, this cannot happen. You sometimes hear people saying that we are all wired differently from each other, so we react differently to different things. This is actually true. Over recent years, neuroscientists have been studying what we call the Connectome, which is the map of connections made between the different areas of our brain and even between individual brain cells. They have now concluded that the complete map of connections made between our brain cells is completely and utterly unique to the individual, just like a fingerprint. This means that there are individual differences in how over 100 billion neurons and around 700 trillion connections in the human brain are configured. This means there are all kinds of combinations possible in the brain's setup. So nobody's exactly the same in the way the brain cells are connected, and also in how those individual connections influence the way their minds and bodies work. So, because of all this variability, we each need to find our own very individual ways to look after ourselves, both mentally and physically, by managing the way that stress affects us. So what works for one person will not necessarily work for another. You have to find your own ways that suit you best, and that is where I can help as a stress management consultant. The soothing stress strategies that I have chosen to use can help you in a variety of different ways. I have broken down the ways you can de-stress yourself into 3 key approaches. Firstly, reorganising your priorities and taking stress seriously. Secondly, reprogramming your bodily systems so they react better and more healthily in stressful situations. Thirdly, and finally, reframing the events that trigger stress responses normally, so they have a positive rather than negative associations, so that the stress response is not triggered anymore. working together, we can use all these R's so you can become your own personal influencer and change the way that you react to stress. I can't take the stress away from your lives, but I can help both your body and mind to cope better with stress so you can live a healthier life, even though it's still just as hectic and crazy. To find out more, look out for my next video here on my Facebook page or on my YouTube channel. You can also find out more by going to my website at soothingstressstrategies.com. Bye for now.